Hello, everyone. Gather here, gather here. Today, we are on the last lap of our topic, a concern from our young ones, African young ones, who are telling us or letting us know that it's hard to raise their parents. That's us. How was that day? I hope your day went well. Mine did. Thanks for asking. I hope your week is going well. I hope your summer is going well. This is your hostess, Dr. Marcellina and M.OPARAOJI, welcoming you warmly to this episode 41, Series 3 of my NDISCO'S Village Meeting podcast. Someone was asking me the other day, why did I set it up this way? I could have called it something else. I said, I thought about it. And, there are so many podcasts out there. Yeah, granted that in my community, in my neck of the woods, I think I am still the only one or one of those that doing podcasts now. And there are reasons for that. It's not like, everybody wants to do this thing. It's just there was need for it. And a lot of people wanted to hear my opinion because I write a lot and share a lot. And I had the gift of young ones approaching me and asking questions. They think I have something to share. And I always tell them I don't know it all. I don't know much, actually, but I will find out. I am one of those with inquiring minds. I would like to know just for me. But then when I know, I'm free to share as part of my DNA. And also, I swore to an oath to that at one of my alma maters when I was getting my doctorate. Um, I was nominated, actually chosen by my dean, and to go into this special, exclusive fraternity that where you are sworn to be an international, a world educator till death. So I have that hanging on my wall. And, what did I know then? That was years ago when you were invited. You've been nominated because of how well you did or how you're doing. I was sharing with you the other day that I was the only actually representing my continent. So they saw maybe I was stupidly brave, and they were able to. And you see yourself when you are being sworn in the midst of heads of department, deans, and not just from your school, from other schools, from many walks of life. And you look back on yourself and how did I get here? So I am proud of that. And anybody who wants to look at that, I would be glad to share. It's actually in my something somewhere. I am a sworn international educator, and I hold that dear to my heart. So anyway, that's enough about me. Um, so today we are going to conclude this episode, actually this particular topic that we started in series 3, started with episode 39, of trying to dig into this topic of it's hard to raise our parents. And we started with the emotional aspect. And then the next episode, which was 439, we talked about the economic and financial aspect of the same. concern. Why is it that they say it's hard to raise their parents? And then the last episode was 40, where we delved into the environmental impact or effects of, you know, um, this topic, the spiritual, religious aspect of it, as well as we delve into the community concerns on that aspect. So if you have time, please go back and see if you can follow those. You don't even have to follow them chronologically. You can pick up a topic and decide to go from there. So today, we're going to complete this uh, investigation into this topic um, with looking at, or by looking at, the legal implications and the political implications or effects or impacts for our children who are now complaining that it's hard to raise us. We raise them. I don't think we complain that much, but I think there is something in the air that is making them complain because today is not what yesterday used to be. And I think, on the other hand, we are clinging to what we know, which is not wrong, but we are clinging to what we know without listening to them as to this is what it is today. So we have to find a way to bridge that gap to move us all forward because we need them. They still need us. And they, are trying to find a way to make life easy for us, whatever, how many number of years we have left. So that's where we are at that impasse. So let's see if you can, like I have you visualize the topic we have. Ah, this thing is always playing pranks on me, and I wouldn't let it do that. Come on. Here you go. So for visual people like me, I like to see what I'm dealing with. So today we are rounding this up with political and legal impacts, effects, implications. What is it all about? How did we get here? We looked at, the our environment today, and like I shared before, when we're talking about these topics, we are looking for, at Africans, whether you are on African soil or in diaspora, whether you are in, Milan, Mali, or in, you are an African in Iceland. So we are just looking at all parts of it. And this topic, but believe it or not, is not tailored to just Africans. This is affecting every parent out there of today's parent who are now being raised by their children. And I don't have to explain that. You just think about it. Again, for those who know, I repeat that in each case, in case you start from the back to watch these episodes. My book was on raising an African child in America from the perspective of me, an immigrant mom from Nigeria. So now it's not us raising them anymore. And I'm looking at all those aspects that I looked at. And those ones now are growing up now to then take care of us. And they're not finding it funny because we are not yielding. We are as rigid as you can think of. We are not moving. We are hanging with our dear lives on the things that we have learned from our parents, things that we think work. And we are ignoring majority of the time, not all the time, majority of the time, what they are telling us is how they want to do things. And we are ignoring them, what they say, this is how it is today. So we are not budging. And that's causing a lot of problems with them. So when we are looking at this political aspect. What are we talking about? There is a generational divide. People, the generational divide is causing a disconnect between youth, the young adults actually, and the older generations on almost everything political, including especially social issues. The social issues, you name it. And if I start to go into depth in that, we may have to be here for another day. Let me take, for example, Nigeria. The gap is so wide that it's becoming a gulf. The young ones feel that they don't have a place at the table when discussions about their future is being maybe the discussion of their present is being made. They have no clue. They have been asked to sacrifice part of their lives in doing the foundational things, getting an education, staying out of trouble, keeping their heads down, learning their culture, and much more. Getting the core values that are being laid down from childhood. Some of them are trying. But guess what? When it comes down to, okay, we've done all that we were asked to do when you were raising us, when you are raising us as your children. At this point, then, we are not getting anything back. We are not allowed to, emancipate. We are not allowed to use whatever values you've given us in practice. So when it comes to the old ones moving a little bit, shifting, we're not even saying, they're not even asking you to just leave completely. Shift and make us some room for us, the younger ones. That is not being done because the elders decide they now reside on the throne and they're not living. And the young ones are not finding that palatable. It's good taste. It's a taste of bad pudding for them. Okay? So year in, year out, they don't belong to any particular arena that decisions are being made for them. And on top of that, when there are, opportunities to do so, they are being given, whatever the shortcomings that they have, whether it's because they don't have a job or they don't have money or they don't have a roof over their heads, they are tricked into, getting the necessary resources to keep them alive than to give them opportunity to come to the table to talk about their future. And that to them is really hard. So if we are asking them to help us build the nation, how are we doing that? They are trying to help us do that, to take that baton off of our hands, to bring in whatever is new, to make better what we have been doing. And yet, we don't give them room to do that. That's one. Policy changes. Politically, it's hard to work with their parents. It's hard to really, show them what is modern, what is today. Youths are seeking policies that support their empowerment. Okay? They want to be empowered. They want to be educated. They want to own some piece of the cake, of the national cake. But that doesn't come easy, or it will come at all. Because they are handed down, something, this is what you need. A case in point, for example, again, let me use my country, Nigeria, my other country. Um, the National Youth Service Corps is being revamped. And it was funny, somebody was, the minister, whoever that is, talked about changing the normal uniform. That is one actually outstanding thing that is good about National Service Corps to adhere or whatever the regular tie-dyed attire. And I just sat where I was and pictured a youth couple wearing that you might wash tomorrow and then it becomes a different color altogether because it's tie-dye. Even if you find the best of that, as against the other ones that, at least people wear that with pride. So how are you going to wear this? And are you going to write anything on it? Or I just wonder. And I am betting anything on it to say that this person making that announcement never consulted any of the young ones to say, what would you like to wear? So they just formulated something and then boom, out there, just as always. I bet if you bring a few of these young ones to the table and say, help us build what will make you happy, what will do well for you, they will. They may not all agree on the same thing, but they will come up with ideas that are fabulous, better than what you guys. So when you change policies, when you do stuff like that, and there's not just one, not two, many. In the exams they sit, you just change the directions overnight. You are not the ones as adults or as elders sitting for the exams. It's the young ones, these young adults who want to help you take this burden off of your hands. So this is their pet peeve. It's hard to work with you, the elders. You make it difficult. They do the best that you have asked them to do, but yet you don't want to let go. When is that going to happen? And that is how, are you going to take whatever you know now or you have to the grave? This is where they start scampering from the scratch, not knowing what you already have, where you are, and what could be done. They don't know A from B because you don't include them in that decision making. And they talked about, again, this is there is nothing like intergenerational dialogue. Nobody's talking. Okay. I would like to, personally see a situation where there is just a meeting between the powers that are and a representation of the young across the nation. Not just that, across the world. I know there are bodies like that once in a while they consult you. But what happens if you set all these things that you want to do at the feet of these young ones and see what they come up with? They might surprise you. So trying to raise their parents to understand what they need, excuse me, where they're coming from, what could work for them, what is old that should be archived, and what is contemporary. That is something that is not happening with their parents. Excuse me. So that intergenerational dialogue needs to happen. There has to be communication between generations to bridge understanding. And this is where the wheel will start turning for good. Because as it is, when somebody doesn't talk to somebody else, things are happening that are not for the benefit of A and not for the benefits of B. And that's how we lose the world we already have. And last but not the least, on the political aspect, is enabling the young ones to be their own activists, to indulge in activism, which means these young ones are engaging in aspects that influence parental and societal laws. They know where they were wearing the shoes, they know where, they pitch. So again, all of these things are tied in the way of bring them to the table. When you give them that power, when you accord them that belonging, you will see them take it to the next level. And the next level is better than walking backwards or staying where, status quo. Nothing moves, nothing changes, it's same old, same old. And one wonders why they leave the country indoors. When, for example, Nigeria, you find the best, of the best in the world, everywhere else, they are Nigerians. Just imagine that these young ones are given the opportunity to bring this talent back home. One thing I assure you is that they are not just going to bring, they are capable of, spreading the talents around. They can do for the whatever country that they are based or environment where they are in, as well as the ones of their ancestry. Nobody is depriving. This is what I tell them. You have the best of all worlds. You don't have to watch the masquerade now, like we say back home, from one stance. You can run around and see what works best for you. The world is your table, the world is your field. But when it comes to the parents, we tie their hands. When they want to do something, we shut them down and like, oh, that is not going to work. Or who asked you to do that? Why are you? We forget they're now adults. All of us are guilty of that. All of us. But one of the things that I refuse to do is to force anybody, even the young ones, into the corners they don't want to be, either for the moment or in the future. But we can encourage them. We can tell them, this is good for you, this is good for you, A, B, C, D. But it's for us to consider. Because when you force them into that corner, anything works or anything fails, it is on your own head. And no matter what you tell them is the reasoning why you want them to jump A to B or do, C or D, they are not hearing that because they are not ready for it yet. And we never understand when they say to us, I'm not ready. Some of us don't. We don't even, it's like, oh, all your mates are doing X, Y, Z. That's the typical Nigerian saying, all your mates, I don't know. Oh, for the sake of this, for the sake of that. Okay, those of you who are elders now, what did you achieve when you were that age? And at this age also, what are you going to be showing for it? So those are the questions that I'm not saying you shouldn't remind them. I do remind them of what they should be doing. And do also remind them, traditionally or culturally, this is what is expected of you, or this is what society, but it's up to you because I am one of those people I will do me, do you. I'm not going to be a copycat, but you know, you got to sit back and see what really will work for you because the society will tell you where to sit if you don't know where to sit, or how to sit if you don't know how to sit, or when to sit. So you got to be able to know what you got to do. Now, let's talk about the legal effect or legal aspect. This one is one that is, I've said it many times, is culturally one that we overlook, every one of us, in most cases, not generalizing here. Um, we know we have parental rights. Our children also have their own rights, considering the legal age to make decisions and all that. Yes, culturally, a child may never leave the house unless when they are ready, even if they are 40 or 50. But also, there is what is called legal age. In some countries, at 18, or some 21, is some 16. It depends on where you find yourself. They are now emancipated to be able to make their own decisions. Actually, some countries, when they reach to such legal age, they kick them out of the house to go fend for themselves. But that's not African, unless some Africans have started doing that. But that's another thing that is up in the air. People are now trying to do. But everybody has their rights. So, but sometimes the African parent will forget that children also have rights. And when they want to use that right, we start persecuting them. But we forgot we also send them to, get education where they will know their rights. It's a double-edged dagger, right? Or sword, like they say. So that's one thing we need to understand so that we don't make it hard for them to raise us, that they know what they're doing. But we always look to see that our 50-year-old is, we still see them as our baby. They will always be our babies, but we also have to, give them the benefit of the doubt to use their brains. I talked about emancipation, knowing they can now seek legal aspect to their lives. They sometimes want to pull away from the control we, the parents, are exerting on them, but with reasons. And some of them who do that don't do that because they want to start a war, a family war. It's just because of the rigidity of some of the parents. We don't think outside the box with them. We don't reason with them. We just wish what we want to happen is what will happen. And they can do contrary to that. And so that brings us to what they call age of maturity. Okay. Um, and that goes hand in hand with child welfare laws. Laws that children, you know, cannot be neglected or abused. They have that right. But in some cases, we pull culture over that so hard that they don't even know the differences. So when at a certain age, as an elder, we still do not understand that age of maturity, that when you, as an elder, a mom or a dad, you are in your son's or your daughter's home, you can't be calling the shots that much anymore. You are your son has a wife, and you now want to tell them when to eat, when to sleep, when to jump, what to do, and how to raise the kids. Think about that. Or you have a daughter, you want to dictate, okay, your son-in-law becomes, you monitor every little thing and you don't let them, oh, is that how you're treating my daughter and all that? Abba. So this is what is going on, that your children who want to help you in that old age of yours are now saying it's hard to do this with you. Okay. They want to marry. Say, no, that one is not good. They do this, they do this. You have all this. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying don't, sit down with your child and say, this is what I want, this is what I want. But also remember that love has their own way. But, yes, we still have our culture. We need to me, I would like everybody to marry from their own tribe. It's not there. I mean, to me, the way I look at it is that, if everybody keeps doing this cross, um, um, uh, racial thing, please don't get me wrong, it's not wrong. But then what will happen to a particular culture at the end? So for me, I'm saying and I'm saying it in social media, I'm saying it on the platforms, I'm saying it everywhere. And I'm not ashamed to say that if you find love in your own race, that is how you perpetuate that race. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not mincing word to saying that. But if you don't find love there, you find it elsewhere, it's up to you. But you got to look well before you leap when it comes to that. Because a lot of headaches, yeah, we have divorces everywhere, whatever, whether it's the same race, the same community, the same kindred, and all that. But some things can be avoided, or overlooked because you understand somebody's culture, somebody's background, or somebody's all that. So I am going off the topic now. So, but I'll put myself back. So in this case, we are saying that when parents fail to provide proper care, it's part of that child's right to say something. And on the same token, if the parent is being maltreated or abused or neglected by these children, they have a right also to speak up. But no side should make it hard for either side to be able to function. And that's what the children are saying. We listened to you. We allowed you. We even gave up some of our rights, despite the fact we know our rights, when we were growing up, when you were raising us. But now you need our help. You need us close. You need us to do it. Don't make it hard for us to help raise you or help you, whichever way we want to put it. That's just what that is. They talked about family law. Okay. It matters, including custody, who gets home, guardianship, and all these dynamics affect, you know, um, family relationships. And this is one aspect that when we were all younger raising these kids, many people didn't put into consideration. The divorce is just the interest of the man and the woman. They forget there's a child in this situation. And it's just mind-boggling sometimes. I don't know how these children do it when they get transported. You're at dad today, you're at mom's today, even at younger age. If they are of, emancipation age, that's different. But when they are younger, they don't know, they didn't put themselves in that situation. But then now they are helping take care of you. And you're still trying to call the shots, you know. That's where they are having issues. There is also the one that is called the support obligations. Um, Again, this is where they say to you, if you are asking me to help take care of you, and that's what they call it, raising you at your elderly age, um, I'm doing it because I want to do it, or because of the value you gave me. They are mad when it becomes, it's not even a privilege, it becomes a right. You make it like it's a right. You remember the case I was talking about, the boy the mother was calling every moment of the moment that hadn't settled, where he went to seek employment, and everybody's calling him to bring money home and all that. And, insulting him and cursing him and abusing him in whichever way, that, the depression got to him, that, he died in his sleep. And the last call he had was from his mother, according to the allegations out there. I'm not there, so I don't know the story. But this is what is going on. You cannot put undue pressure on anybody. You cannot put an undue pressure on another human being. That is not a good thing to do. And so these young ones are saying that also. It is hard to raise somebody who is constantly nagging. You got to do this. You have to do this. It's your, that's why I brought you into this world to do X, Y, Z. It's not, it's a support for you, but not a support obligation. You can't force them. I said it before. They are saying to us, well, you asked me to do it because you brought me into this world. I didn't ask to be brought into this world. You know, I'm hoping to bring another person into the world. They're not going to owe me for bringing them into the world. Okay. So, which is a privilege when they can do what they can do. And, in Africa, it's cultural for them to take care of us. But then we got to be grateful and not full of too much expectations. They know the sacrifice you made for them. They are not, silly or stupid. They have an idea, especially when you have given them core values. They are applying them, but they have to have enough room to live their own lives as well as they, raising you and I. Okay. So that's where I am calling us all to uh, try to meet them halfway. They mean well. Some of them are strong. They have strongholds. Some of them are still climbing. They're not there yet. So you work with them with whatever they have, just like they did when you were raising them, when they were asked for more than they need, and you say no. They understood that. But this is what they're asking me to tell you guys, that it's about time that you allow them to breathe while also helping you breathe. They haven't forgotten the sacrifice, but just don't push them or compare them to others. That wouldn't change the dynamics of how much they can help you or why they will help you on me. So on that note, I am going to complete or conclude this topic for now. There are other aspects to this topic that they raise that is hard to raise their parents. I started with these few areas that brought us to parts A, B, C, and D. And in the future, we may delve into other aspects also because there's a whole lot of them. I just touched just the surfaces of some of them, like I did in other episodes. There are issues that they think handling these issues are a bit different from how we, their elders, handled those when we were being raised or growing up. And they would like us to understand where they are coming from because they don't have it as easy as we think they do. It's really tough world out there. And for the young ones, my aspect of conclusion is to tell you to have patience with us. Be patient with us. Yes, you are telling us we did not, prepare for this stage of our lives. We thought we were preparing by what we were doing. Remember, nobody has all the answers. We, your parents, we were helping others because we thought that was the way to build, and because culturally that was what we were taught. And it's not just in Africa, the rest of the world, you know. When you look back to Nigeria, for example, the amount of remission of money back there, it's a whole lot. We're talking about many, many, many billions every year. But, it's not even doing a whole lot to help everyone. But then, what you guys are frowning at is that those who majority of those who were being helped never helped themselves. And so when we beckon on you to say, hey, help this person, or that, you look at us and like, okay, how many of those that you helped are helping other people? Everybody still comes to you, and which is true. And so, one of those, I'm not going to hold you to that. You do. I know some of you are kind enough to go help. Please do help. Some people do need help. But you can always, see through those who are enablers. I mean, who are enabled. So you don't become enablers to their laziness and all that. Okay. But be patient to your parents that you're raising now. Take time to explain to them why you are asking them to desist from A, B, C, D, or you are encouraging them to do A, B, C, D, especially in the health aspect. Sometimes, one of my protege was telling me the other time how, the parents were consuming some medications that she was telling them, don't do that. And they kept giving excuses. And she said, you're going to get sick and it's going to fall back on me. But, that's their own routine. But it's good to listen both ways to see why people do what they do. On that note, I am going to thank you again for listening. I appreciate your being here. And again, I ask you to please subscribe. It's free. And give us your feedback. I also ask you to share, especially to the young one, to your children, to, children, the young ones, share with your parents. I know some of them would never agree with some of the ideas, but that's okay. I will have to say it anyways. And we can always agree to disagree or disagree to agree, okay? So this is your hostess, Dr. Marcellina NDISCO'S. Again, recalling that spirit of Ubuntu. I am because you are. Have a good evening.